Welcome everyone to the L7C podcast Dragon Ball edition. Today we are going to be talking about Dragon Ball Super Manga Chapter 94, continuing the retelling of Dragon Ball Super Super Hero. We got the Dragon Ball expert with us, Mr. Mitch Oso. How are you doing today, sir?
I was always doing fantastic. How about yourself?
I'm doing well, man. I'm doing well. We're continuing the retelling of Dragon Ball Super, and I think we're at the middle of the movie now.
Yeah, about getting close to the climax, or a little bit about the movie. Hmm.
So yeah, we'll get right
Slow
into it.
grind to
Oh
get this
yeah.
manga chapter done.
Oh yeah. So it was a
This
very
arc, I meant.
slow grind. So man, let's just get right into it. This chapter starts off the pan pickup school scene. If you've listened to our last podcast or if you've watched the movie, you know Piccolo has infiltrated the Red Ribbon Army base, and he is with the one guard who is tasked with picking up Pan from school. And you know, if you've watched it, a very funny scene of this big, really big guy trying to kidnap Pan, and Pan takes him out in one punch.
Yep, just just hands beating up on unexpected guards, not understanding what they're actually about to get into, and then there's just a little bit of dialogue, obviously, whenever Piccolo approaches, and Pan can sense she can sense his key and knows it's him, and Piccolo explains the situation to him or to her, and you know, they skedaddle out from the school area and they go right to the Red Ribbon base, and yeah, then we get there, and then the guard wakes up, tells Piccolo not to tell anyone about the mishap there, and when they get there, they make a little video of Pan acting as if she's in distress, and then they decide then they're going to go directly to Gohan to lure him to the base to fight the Gammas, and Gohan doesn't take them Piccolo and this guard seriously at first. He's back just doing his research as he quite frequently does a lot. Even after the guard pulls out his gun, again, not truly understanding the strength of these people. And Gohan flicks the gun away, tells him to leave, otherwise he's calling the police. And the guy pulls out the recording of Pan, and Gohan acts just like a typical father should whenever he sees his child in danger, gets angry. But the thing to note here is though is that just like in the movie, Gohan though cannot sense that the other guard is Piccolo,
Which still
even
makes
though
no sense.
it is, again they're just trying to show how Gohan is completely out of it, which I don't I can't believe that someone would be so far out of it that they could not sense, their I don't know, their mentor for their entire life, as some people claim to be his true father in Piccolo, but whatever. Gohan gets pissed off and he goes with them after, well, he turns Super Saiyan and freaks out the other guard, and he agrees to go with them to the base. So he heads over to the Red Ribbon base. He meets the Gammas in the downpour rain, and he starts the battle against Gamma 1. But pretty standard stuff from what we saw in the movie. Like he ignores Gamma 1, just trying to get the Pan. Gamma 2 kicks him back to the fighting area, and they kind of go toe to toe. Gohan starts off in his base form, and Gamma is giving him a pretty good battle, and Gohan gets the upper hand slightly earlier, but then eventually over time, Gamma is just doing what Gamma 2 did against Piccolo, and he's just learning about how Gohan fights and his limitations and whatnot. And Gamma starts, flipping the battle script towards his favor, and he starts giving Gohan a little bit of a hard time. And um, Gohan realizes that he's fighting an android, and gets to the point then where Gohan turns Super Saiyan again, starts the well as a Super Saiyan. First thing he does is just launch a Kamehameha right at Gamma. But Gamma prepares for it. He dodges it and then takes his little ray gun and you know shoots Gohan with a blast. But Gohan redirects the blast and then goes and starts throwing punches and kicks and at Gamma. And then they kind of come to a stalemate. And then once again, Gamma figures him out and just starts beating up on Gohan. And then we get to the scene where to get Gohan's battle instincts back, he's going to basically fake threaten Pan to push Gohan over the edge. And it's a funny scene from the movie. They illustrate it here again where Piccolo is uh, grabbing, or he's pretending to grab, like, you know, Pan's collar of her shirt, but with the other hand, he's secretly hiding or, like, lifting her up by her feet. So, um, this throws Gohan into a rage. Even like Gamma 2, because Gamma 1 and Gamma 2 and Dr. Hedo, they're not really evil. They're just working for evil people because they're stupid. And even Gamma 2 is like, telling Piccolo he thinks that he's a henchman, to just chill out and whatnot. And this causes Gohan to go into his ultimate form, and that's how the chapter ends. So, yeah, it, that's that's the problem. These usually we go into way more detail with this stuff, but it's like y'all have seen the movie, we've read the manga chapters, we've seen it live action. It's essentially the same as an anime, but
Yep, no, 100% agree. I think there was only, for me rereading it, only two slight differences just because we had the manga. The one, since I'll just go backwards, was when Gohan went Super Saiyan and the doctor's like, I've seen this before. Obviously, that wasn't in the movie because, in the
hmm
manga, he saw like Trunks and Goten and stuff. So, like, that small thing. And then, like, the school scene, I don't remember the cop being there.
yeah, I don't recall the cop. I thought Pan's teacher like was there, but that might have been whenever Piccolo, like the first time that he legitly picked up Pan. I forget, but I don't necessarily remember the cop either.
Which it was funny too, because they're just like, oh, you're picking up Hercule's granddaughter, and never mind, carry on. It's kind of
Yep.
interesting how the Red Ribbon Army would just be like, we're just gonna show up and try and kidnap Hercule's granddaughter in broad daylight.
It is. It's also still funny how the world still views Hercule as just this, this all star, this
Mm-hmm.
larger than life figure. We obviously see the behind the scenes stuff more and how he interacts with the Z fighters and sort of how pointless he is, except such a central figure in the world. I mean, these guys, you think about it, their entourage is pretty stacked in terms of who you got. You got the strongest people on the planet. You got the smartest people on the planet. Hercule, the at least in terms of humans and how they view him,
The most famous person on the
most
planet.
famous like human maybe. But yeah, it's just
When you say it like that, I mean, that kind of gives. I mean, they're not a cabal, but they have some validity when they're talking about like this gang. Like, if you really
yeah,
look at who's a part of this like gang,
yeah, most
from
definitely.
like you just said, from all facets, like the strongest, the most famous, the smartest, the richest,
Yep,
the two richest. Like,
yep.
it is and it's ungodly. Like, yeah, if you could make it seem like, oh yeah, they're a terrible bad group, and like when they're talking about we got to take these people out, I mean,
The thing is if you can tell this is a fake universe because if you add any of those kind of like people with those credentials that we just said in real life.
Mhm.
All politics get heavily involved. Twitter rips into them. TMZ is up their ass exposing their shit, and it's like it's funny. They never have the kind of drama that that you would see from our, you know, A-list celebrities
Oh
or
no,
scientists or anything like that. So,
not at all. People are also more gullible. Like, if Hercule loses a fight, all he has to do is just like, oh, I wanted that person to win. Everyone believes it. Or his signature line, it's a trick. Like,
or he has stomach problems.
you know?
He would be great in the WWE.
Oh yeah, he's like he's probably there like a Hulk
Oh,
Hogan type. But it's kind of funny too with this school scene. I just think about, I was like, in real life, I don't know if Pan would be able to just go home to Piccolo unless he's on the emergency contact information.
right. Otherwise, these uh these teachers not doing their job pretty good. If a big green guy with antennas came and just took it, that's the thing too, is that the planet knows about Piccolo.
Mhm.
Like they know about King Piccolo and all the decimation that he brought when Goku was little, and yet there he is taking Pan home. Now that's the thing. Do people not know? Like, have they not done research into who Pan's lineage is?
I mean this cop did. I mean this cop obviously.
I mean, like, do they not? Do people like not know that Pan is the granddaughter to two martial arts champions? Like,
Well, a series, good old Dragon Ball GT. Remember the final scene where when it's Goku Jr. and Vegeta Jr. and some like random guy is sitting next to Pan, and
and
he's
they
like,
had Goku's statue out there.
yeah, yeah, because they have already, and they're like, wait, you're the granddaughter of Hercule and Goku. And Pan's like, if you like really knew like all the people I'm connected to, you'd be crazy.
you know, it's
Because at
just
that point, Goku's fully acknowledged.
yeah,
So again, probably the best ending of all the series, if we're being honest.
it really is. It really is.
But
We'll never get there again, but oh well.
it's kind of funny too how I think I shared it with you. I think before you went on vacation, that little YouTube short of the Elder Kai and GT yelling at Bulma, saying the Shadow Dragons are all her fault. Which is, I mean, if they happen to come to Super, it's true because these wishes she's been making have been some selfish ass wishes, and they can go right into that story if they wanted to.
Oh, they should. That they should. And I mean, no one else uses the Dragon Balls quite frequently like pointless wishes. There's been no history of the Namekians screwing it up. The gods don't do them wrong. It's strictly Bulma and basically her greed. Yep, yep.
It's because I mean he said like I wonder if they would be able to find the Dragon Balls if she never made that radar.
You mean like humans in general?
Yeah, the humans in general, would they have been able to ever find the Dragon Balls without the Dragon radar? Because even Frieza had to steal the radar in the Broly movie to find the stuff.
Yeah. I guess I never looked into that. Was there ever a wish made prior to Bulma's introduction? I don't think so. Not Earth's dragon. I have to look into that. That's actually a little fact that if it does exist, I do not know.
Yeah, it would be because anywhere they go, I mean, everyone. I mean, Bulma's technically a walking target because you're the only one who has the only Dragon radar on Earth,
Yep.
and then you just randomly keep them in your house now in this building and all that stuff. Mitch, I want to bring up last pages because Gohan went ultimate, and some people are like, see, obviously, like the ultimate Gohan bang and they brought back this old argument that Gohan was not in his ultimate form when he stalemated Kefla because he didn't have his bang down. So people are trying to bring that back up. What are your thoughts?
A mistake in drawing from
Yeah,
Toritaro. It's simply what it is. Like
yeah, I agree because
that's
there's no way bait. I mean, I can get with Ultimate Gohan doing that in the manga, but base Gohan just that would be just so bad.
yeah, base Gohan uh competing on the same level as a Super Saiyan 2 legendary Super Saiyan fusion. Power fusion. Come on. Come on, people. I mean, we can sit here and nitpick for Ataro's like missing drawing of his bangs, but let's just have what I would view as just a little bit of common. Like, what does it matter if like you're trying to like pitch it as, that's his base form? Like we all accept that Gohan's strong as shit and that if his story arc is used correctly, just like it was in Z from child to cell, like he can be up there with any of them. And it's just like, but let's not just. If anything, Gohan should have been Super Saiyan against Kefla.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
so if he wasn't Super Saiyan, then he had to have been in his ultimate form. But
I agree. I agree. So now we're getting to the point. So next week will be the ultimate Gohan fight, which means we should, knowing them, they're probably going to end next week with Orange Piccolo, or Orange Piccolo should be in the next chapter.
yeah, I agree with you. I think Orange Piccolo ends the chapter.
Which I mean, the way this is going, so then you got Orange Piccolo. He does his stuff. They unleash Cell Max. Maybe a couple more chapters, maybe by the beginning of or middle of fall, which is crazy to say as recording near the end of June. But then, I mean, this is coming to an end, and it's like, what's next? What is
Yeah,
after this? Because we know how this ends. Like, what is after this?
brand new arc, brand new something. It just will this next arc end before the anime starts?
Oh God. Well, we're in the middle. We're literally halfway through 2023. No anime news whatsoever. The last big Dragon Ball news that's been said was Budokai Tenkaichi 4, and then they've been radio silent since then. But man, I don't know, man. I highly they're coming to some Comic Cons, the Dragon Ball panel. That there's gonna have a big presence there, but usually they're a big presence there. Like, oh, remember to go rewatch Dragon Ball Super Super Hero.
You know,
But another Dragon Ball thing, which I think they should potentially look at as a next arc, Dragon Ball Heroes came out, and I mean we had the new iteration of the family Kamehameha with Goku, a Bardock, and future Gohan. Super Saiyan 4 Bardock, Ultra Instinct Goku, and Super Saiyan Gohan.
wait,
Mitch,
Goku was Ultra Instinct.
Ultra Instinct, yeah,
Yep.
Ultra Instinct. I apologize. So Ultra
Yep.
Instinct, Super Saiyan 4, and Super Saiyan. Mitch, what was I mean? What were your thoughts on that?
It's funny watching Heroes all the time because this is how like their episode formats go, and that is first episode, big bad guy comes, absolutely fights and stomps a lot of everyone. No
Mm-hmm.
one knows how they're going to survive. Goku comes out of nowhere and somehow does like I feel like Goku somehow like after a fusion always fights him with a fusion, and then fusion breaks. Everyone struggles. Goku does. Goku handles the situation on his own, and then somehow, some way, others get involved. But it always just makes me chuckle. Like Goku seems to be the one who is always the tipping point
Mm-hmm.
for it.
Mm-hmm.
Because I'm like, they're fighting Demigra here as Vegito. and they're going toe to toe with them, and they have the upper hand. Then they get split, and just freaking just Vegeta just gets obliterated, and then all of a sudden it's just Goku by himself, and he's holding his own, and then Gohan comes, Bardock comes. I will say, Bardock Super Saiyan 4 looks sweet.
Mm-hmm.
Like his
Mm-hmm.
bandana is like the perfect addition to that transformation. Freaking awesome.
No,
But
it was really cool seeing that one, especially if obviously if you guys watched the Broly second movie, like playing homage to that when those three were shooting the blast at Broly in that one. But no, it
that
was
one
really
was cooler than Gohan.
oh yeah.
Yeah, actually, I'm trying to think of Bio Broly. It was Gohan, Goku, and Goten.
Well, that was Broly's second coming. Bio Broly was Goten, Trunks, and Krillin.
Oh yeah. Yeah, you're right. Yep,
But
that's what I was saying.
I really do think like that's something they should look into, man, to make maybe that's the second arc before the end of Z, like a multi like reality universal type war. Like just do it. I mean, oh, you can have content for years if you have all these. You have Frieza trying to take over the multiverse, and then you're running all the different versions of yourselves. And I mean, that'd be sweet. I mean, people would eat that up.
Shit, I mean, we still have like four universes we haven't seen shit about. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
we've brought that up in previous arcs that we still don't know what, universe 1, 12, 8, and 5?
The ones with the omega strong normal people power.
But the weak ass gods, like, whatever.
But going back to Dragon Ball because they did bring this up because this actually so Dragon Ball they made a big announcement because we were talking about cons. It's not just any con that they're having a special exhibition. They're having a exhibition at San Diego Comic Con, which is the biggest Comic Con in the world, and that is in July. And of course, speculation runs rampant. Just looking at this article right here, saying they haven't made up. There have been no announcements on the anime. They haven't done anything. Superhero. They're retelling it. This big thing. What happens? The event is listed to take place July 19th through 23rd. That's the Comic Con, and they're gonna have a big presence there. Mitch, do you have any expectations of Dragon Ball announcing anything at this Comic Con? At San Diego Comic Con?
Mm, I don't have faith in them to announce anything that is like worthwhile. Like, like when I say worthwhile, like I need Xenoverse 3, even though again it's not Comic Con, it's just video games. You could do that at freaking
You could.
Nintendo Direct, which was today at the time of recording. It was freaking lit. Anyways,
Yeah,
whatever.
they did a lot more than I thought they would, and we can talk about that after a little bit after this. But they did a lot more than I thought they would.
Well, like so before Nintendo Direct today, I would have been like, yeah, I don't have any faith in Japan, like giving me anything that I have ever wanted because just like with us sitting here wishing for the anime, there's been some video games that I've wanted remastered or just even re-released, and I didn't think it was going to happen, but today I got a dream come true with Super Mario RPG getting an entire remake. Holy shit! But anyways, so while I sit here and say, yeah, I don't think anything is coming out of San Diego Comic Con of video like Xenoverse 3, Dragon Ball Fighters 2, or whatever, or an anime, I might say that I don't have faith, but I've already been proven wrong in the last 12 hours, so I will open arms except to be wrong. I would, oh my gosh, pull out everybody's bulletin board and just put it on there that I was wrong if this Comic Con is anything exciting, but
I feel like the only thing I would think is I think they would do the same thing, like have a 5 second teaser of the next movie they're making.
If we got another movie before the anime came back, I think I would flip shit.
It's, I mean, if you're looking, I guess the rate of return, like you get to make one or two, like one, two movies every couple of years, and you're bringing in $100 million. I mean,
Okay, if a movie came out before the anime, cool, whatever. I don't. But if they announced the return or they're making a movie in development before they would even say the anime will come back, I would flip shit. I don't even care if they came back during San Diego Comic Con and they're like, "Hey, we're going to start working on the anime. We don't know when, and we don't know when it's going to come out." That's all I need to hear. You know, like like I just want to hear them say that it is on their mind, essentially.
I could dig that. We'll see. I mean, we'll be able to talk about it by our next episode, which will be very, very interesting. Also, a funny thing I typed in Dragon Ball Super on the internet. Screen Rant says Dragon Ball Super shows off one Gohan transformation for the first time. So they are saying this is the first time in Dragon Ball Super that you actually see Ultimate Gohan in the manga, which, like you said, come on, man.
You know,
And then CBR saying Dragon Ball Super finally takes advantage of Hercule's celebrity status. I'm like, oh, okay, okay. But we'll see, man. Comic Con's gonna be a big deal. It always is. This is the biggest. It's the biggest Comic Con in the world for people who don't know. I mean, San Diego's where like big movie places like Hall H, Marvel. That's where they usually show trailers for some of their movies and announce stuff. Like it's a big deal. But we'll see if Dragon Ball Super brings anything because you did share a tweet with me a couple days ago. Besides the last thing, it was pretty spot on. How it's just video games are keeping it alive and other stuff is.
mm-hmm, very much. Yeah, just that's it. Just video games. Video games are what hold this bitch up. So, and us, of course, and us. We're like
Oh, yeah,
we're like we're like a pillar that slowly is deteriorating, but you know,
yeah. I mean, just it's hard because obviously we've already reviewed the movie on a podcast a year ago, almost 2 years ago now. So it's like we're just redoing it again. It's like, oh, this is a small thing that's happened, or
you
this
know,
is
the
a
end of the
small.
year, like analytics that you're going to show, and you know, the
Hmm.
top podcasts of the year
Hmm.
because of the staleness of Dragon Ball right now. I'm going to talk so much shit if I'm in front of Jacob.
Oh yeah, and I actually that is a something I want to get done by the end of this month too. Just funny thing off topic, I have a little poster of like the Dragon Ball podcast, the wrestling podcast. How many have been done this this year so far? Who's hit some milestones? So yeah, if you that will be very that'd be bad because I mean right now with the bloodline and all that, his stuff hasn't been hotter.
For real though, like that stuff is golden, like a golden book of great storyline telling that they're doing there at the WWE. So while we're rehashing a fucking movie from like 3 years ago, whatever it was.
But it's the last new content besides I mean, besides Dragon Ball Heroes, it's the new. That's the newest thing. Like, which is crazy because Granola's done, Moro's done. I mean, Frieza, he's still out there. Um, shoot, Goku and them are on Beerus's planet doing God knows, still doing their fight. I mean, the other universes, we have no idea what they're doing. Not a soul. But that's where we're at in Dragon Ball, man.
Yeah,
We're just gonna have to wait. This might be the days for the young people. If you're bored, to go type in Dragon Ball AF and go look at Goku Super Saiyan 5. The good old days.
yep. Dragon Ball April Fools.
or type in
the
Goku Super Saiyan
precursor
100. You will find pictures.
the precursor to Ultra Instinct, Super Saiyan 5.
Yeah, that's true. White hair, like it
You
is
know?
true. It is true. But Mitch, anything else, man?
Nope. I don't got too much news. I'm just like just I'm with everyone else, just kind of waiting for something new and spicy.
It would have been sweet if today, like Nintendo Direct, would have had a Dragon Ball game.
Oh, it would have been real good. But I don't. I'll be honest with you. If I got a brand new Dragon Ball game at Nintendo Direct today, I don't know if I could have handled it. Because like the past few months, like it's been a lot of like Zelda. Like a
Hmm.
lot, Zelda has taken Nintendo by the balls like the past few months, and rightfully so. The game, Zelda is always a fantastic franchise, and but I'm a big Mario guy, and I need to get into the other, like Zelda or like even like Metroid series, but just I'm just focused on Mario so much. But like, oh my gosh, a new 2D Mario platformer with Super Mario Bros. Wonderful. I think it's wonderful. That came out. Wave 5 of the Mario Kart DLC coming out. Always enjoy that. Seeing a revisualization of Luigi's Mansion: The Dark Moon that came out on the 3DS. I love Luigi's Mansion 3. Like it's such a underrated co-op game. It might not even be underrated. Maybe more people know about it, but it was so fantastic. A Princess Peach game is scheduled for release next year. That's always nice to see that the IP gets its they start branching out with the IP and giving Peach her own game, but the epitome of happiness and video game release. Oh, well, before I go to that one, for me, I was a big Metal Gear Solid fan.
Hmm.
So while they are remaking Metal Gear Solid 3 from the ground up, they are re-releasing the first, well, yeah, the first three games in the Metal Gear Solid series. So like Metal Gear Solid 1 on the PlayStation, and then Sons of Liberty, and then or not Guns of the Patriots, Snake Eater. So I don't think they're remastered. I think the second and the third game, they are taking the remasters that Konami already had made of them whenever they ported it to the Xbox back in like 2011. I'm not really sure what they're doing about Metal Gear Solid 1, if they're just porting it from the PlayStation. It didn't look like it was getting like from the ground remake or anything like that, but I'll take whatever I can get. So, but yeah, I was surprised to see that on the Switch because the Metal Gear games all the way up until Metal Gear Solid 5, they were all PlayStation exclusives, and then and then the and then yeah, 5 came to the Xbox, and then Konami and Kojima had a falling out, so he's not with them anymore. So the fandom has no clue what's going on there, but nice to see that regardless of the console that you have, you'll be able to play it. But then going back to what I was saying, the greatest news today was the fact that Super Mario RPG Legend of the Seven Stars is getting a from scratch remake. Oh my God, turn-based RPG. The game came out in '95, maybe '96. Came out about 3 months prior to the '64 coming out, and fantastic game, great storyline, very simple mechanics, and anyone who enjoys anything that, I mean, if you're a Final Fantasy fan, I know you specifically are, Martin, and
Hmm.
a lot of the listeners probably are Final Fantasy fans. RPG was made by Square back in the day, and when Square hopped over to PlayStation and started pumping out Final Fantasy games, I mean, yeah, I mean, the same company that makes critically acclaimed Final Fantasy games had their hands on Mario Intellect back in the 90s, and they killed it. So,
It's
but
funny too because Final Fantasy 16 will be coming out this week.
it's funny. The funny thing is that last week, middle of June, the captain of the L7C, Byron, I forget, what were we talking about where you guys were talking, he was requesting Square, and I don't know how to properly pronounce her name. I think it's
Square,
Enix?
yeah, Square Enix.
Square Enix? I don't know. What were we talking about? What was Byron wanting? Byron was wanting something. He was waiting for Square Enix to
Hmm.
release something, and I told him, don't don't count on it. Don't like I have begged for RPG, not even get a remake or a remaster, just a re-release. Just
Oh, which was it was something too, which I guess this is showing our age. So literally last June, June 12th, I shared this tweet about which all of us have experienced how midnight releases at GameStop
oh
were legendary nights. And I was talking about the last one I went to was for Kingdom Hearts 3. And then he brought up how like where's Kingdom Hearts 4? And you're like, don't ask them for anything. They're
oh yeah,
worthless. And I said, hey, that's the truth. I mean,
and that's the thing. That was just last week. Like
mm-hmm.
that, I told someone else, don't trust them. Don't trust them because I'm asking for my shit, and it's been 17. No, 17. I'm doing my math backwards here. It has been like 28 years that that game was released. 28 years. 95. That's weird to think about. But anyways, I never got it. And then 7 days later, I am literally getting emotional because it's not just a game for me. I have emotional ties to it because of people in my life that got me the game, and they ain't here anymore. But anyways, but yeah, like it, my jaw hit the ground whenever I saw that, because you had shared in the group chat
Mm-hmm.
that it was getting a remake, but I didn't read remake. I just saw it was just getting released, and then I get on there and just I just see they show the old, like how it used to look on the Nintendo, and then they show a little transition to what it will look like in a new graphic format. And November 17th, I will be glued to my Switch. Like, don't if there's a podcast on November 18th, like I might not be there. You might have to do the whole thing yourself for Dragon Ball. Sorry, fandom. No,
Oh,
I'll be
that's
here.
so
But
funny. You know, it's funny too because when I was looking through all the stuff, and I'm like, oh shit, these are all these games. And then from my personal thing, if you've listened to the very, very few ones I've done by myself, obviously they announced like the Arkham trilogy going on
oh
to the
yeah,
Nintendo Switch, and I'm sitting there, and I was sitting there, I was like, one, I was like, okay, but like, do we really need this? Two, is the Switch going to be able to handle all of that because it's going to say it's coming with all the DLC and all that stuff? And three, I was like, am I going to buy this? Like, I
did
already,
you play
I
all the
like, I've,
DLC?
yeah, I've played all the DLC,
I
and
thought so. I was just like, whenever you were playing Arkham Knight, if you were grinding out all those
oh
Riddler.
no, I did it all, but it's like I think the Switch is going to explode. There's no way it's going to hold all three, and that's not what I wanted. I want Arkham Origins remake, but legal and companies being shitty.
The
But
one,
I,
well, the
I
one thing, it might be able to hold it only because of, well, it maybe, I don't know, like, so for Christmas,
mhm,
or Christmas, like for birthday, like what I got my wife
mhm.
Kayla for, probably a lot of people know that, but just in case of someone else, like I got her, or I was going to get her Hogwarts Legacy
Mm-hmm.
or the Switch because our Switch is in the bedroom, and but then it could be a handheld, blah blah blah. And she likes the mini controller that she has for the Switch, and and but it got pushed back to July, and then it got pushed back to a November release. I suspect that the reason why they did that was because the I mean, from what Jacob L7C Jacob, he listened or he played Hogwarts Legacy. I think he did a. I don't know if he did more than one playthrough, but he said the game is huge. And for anyone else who's played it, you can probably attest to that. And can the Switch handle that? I tried to play Ark Survival Evolved on the Switch. That
Mm-hmm.
was brutal. That was very brutal. That game takes a lot out of any system, whether it be like I played it on the Xbox or if you run it on PC. I mean, you gotta have you gotta have top notch stuff to try to run those games on their respective systems. Yeah, the Switch just wasn't it was not on par with the Xbox and probably not even close to PC par. But yeah, can it take Batman? So I mean, if it can take Hogwarts, then they can probably figure out Batman. But I don't know what is the comparison of the Switch compared to other consoles? Like, is it equivalent to like in terms of processing power? Is it equivalent to a Xbox 360?
I don't
Is
know
it?
because I know I mean, their biggest game of recent was the new Pokemon one, and it was having issues with that.
I'm trying to Google it real quick here. What would I type? Processing power?
Yeah, I guess. Yeah,
Just curious because I'm like, would you think that it would be stronger than a PlayStation 2?
yes,
Okay. Would you think then it's stronger than an Xbox 360 or a PlayStation 3?
I would think it'd have to be stronger than them. Yes.
I would think that it would have to be stronger than a Xbox 360. Is it
Yep.
as strong as a PlayStation 3 though running Blu-ray?
Oof. Don't. I
Because
don't know.
hell, like like you don't even have now. Granted, a PlayStation 3 did it, but like you don't even have 4K switches. Like you're still running at like 1080p.
Mm-hmm. That's true.
Because I
Yeah.
don't think it would be stronger than the other consoles. Okay, what generation is the Switch part of? Is it part of the one that it's in we're in right now with the Xbox,
I would
or is
assume
it
it's a part of like
considered
the
the previous?
PlayStation 4,
Yeah, it's with the
Xbox
PlayStation
One.
4 and the Xbox One, correct? So this generation does not have a new Nintendo console yet, I think.
Yeah.
Okay, so all right, so this is just a forum. Um, is a Nintendo Switch more powerful? This one person who has no credentials, according to this, says that no, the Xbox One's um, runs 1.23 teraflops, PS4 1.84 teraflop, blah blah blah. Um, it just says that it's a very powerful handheld. Um, how powerful is a Nintendo Switch from uh, pro casual gaming? In terms of raw power, the Nintendo Switch does not compare favorably to other consoles released in 2017, that being the PS4 Pro and the Xbox One X. Modern gaming smartphones are far more powerful than the Switch. Interesting.
Very,
So,
very interesting. But it's gonna be fun. I mean, video games are great. I enjoy when people when everyone finds a game for them that they get into, whether it be PC, console, or um, phone, and they get into it and have something to take their mind off of the struggles of the real world and just have fun. That's the best part of video games.
I wish I had enough time to actually play a lot of the other games that you guys are so interested in. Because, like,
Well, Spider-Man in October, I think, is the next
yeah.
biggest one. But again, whenever, but it's funny because we talk about the culture. Whenever new Dragon Ball games gets announced, the whole conversation is going to get focused. Like once, like more stuff, a release
Oh, yeah.
date, it's all getting
Oh,
switched back,
that it will. That it will. Man, oh God, I can't wait for, the day come for a Xenoverse 3 or something
and
like
it's
that, man.
crossplay.
Crossplay, yeah.
We'll see.
Can't imagine that it wouldn't be. We'd be so primitive. Yeah, it's like, really? Seriously?
I get tired of seeing more Dragon Ball people get added in Fortnite every 2 weeks than us getting more Dragon Ball content from the Dragon Ball creators.
Right? Jeez, who would have thought Epic Games would be fulfilling our Dragon Ball needs?
Dude, it's crazy. It's dumb. Anything else, man?
Oh, that's it for me.
All right. Well, thank you everyone for listening to the L7C podcast. Make sure you rate, comment, subscribe wherever you listen to podcasts. Oh, you're gonna hear us next month either be happy or disappointed on what Dragon Ball does at Comic-Con. So be on the lookout for that. With that being said, it's the L7C podcast signing out. Thank you for listening to this episode of the L7C podcast. Be sure to like, rate, review, and subscribe to the channel. Follow us on all social media platforms, and we'll be talking to you guys soon. Take care.